morning, Kansas City. How are you? A little preview for the game today. Welcome, All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. And for those of you in the digital world, also, welcome, following us on our live Facebook feed. And we're glad to have you here today. Bright sun, bright shiny faces. We love that, definitely. Is there anybody visiting that would like to say hi or introduce yourselves today? Hi. Welcome, definitely. Is there anybody else here today that would like to say hello? Joining us, please. Hi, Ella. Well, welcome, definitely.
I have two visitors beside me, and they said, yes, you can.
Hi, Ryan. Welcome, welcome, definitely. Is there anybody else?
Yes.
Hi.
Jack, go give it to him now. Go give it to Anthony.
Wonderful. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you folks. We're doing a luncheon today to benefit our coming of age Boston trip, and also for a wonderful purpose to welcome a new employee.
So
here.
let me.
Oh, please go ahead. Definitely.
I feel very possessive about this. So I want all of you to meet Leandra Salazar Slaughter, who is our new church administrator. Welcome, Leandra. Some of you may already have met her because she's been helping us out on Sundays, but this week she starts in the office full-time, so she'll be here all week. Drop by and see her, and stay for lunch because we're going to have an opportunity to introduce Leandra a little more fully and get to know her at lunchtime, so please join us there. Sorry, Scott, I didn't mean to take over.
Is for our new employees, so definitely come by. If you're not staying for lunch, at least have some cake and say hello to everybody. Definitely. So I'm going to get on with our service today. Anthony?
We gather this morning on the eve of Thanksgiving, a holiday both simple in its premise and complex in the history of our nation and culture. Gratitude for an abundant harvest is one of the oldest motifs in religious imagery. It is found in both pagan and biblical sources, as well as other traditions around the globe. Fruitfulness is often used as a metaphor for the cultivation of human lives in community. As we shall see, the giving of thanks is an important spiritual capacity and discipline. Yet we must make an accounting of history as well as nature. For too long, the mythology of this holiday has naively celebrated our pilgrim ancestors surviving in the wilderness of their new country with the help of happy, welcoming indigenous tribal peoples whom they were pleased to call Indians. There is a sliver of truth to this in one event that we choose to remember. But the fact is that by far most of the early Thanksgivings were proclaimed to celebrate military victories and massacres of these people and theft of their food, supplies, and lands. As a covenant community of memory committed to the work of justice, truth-telling, and dismantling racism, we cannot, in good conscience, perpetuate the amnesia represented by the conventional images of Thanksgiving. But still, ironically, gratitude and honor for the gifts of the natural world is a central premise in the spiritual practices of many Native American traditions. This morning, I invite us into reflection through a practice of the Haudenosaunee, or Six Nations Confederacy, the Mohawk, Seneca, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Tuscarora tribes came together into a political federation from which some of the practices of democracy for the nascent United States were derived. Their interpretation of Thanksgiving is one that might inform not only our history and our holiday, but our lives in community as well. May we be thankful for the truth, however difficult, as well as the comforts of our culture. May we attend to the needs of the earth, even as we accept its gifts. And may the light we kindle as the symbol of our own heritage and faith illuminate the abundance of the world we share and be reflected in the generosity and the gratitude of our living.
Hello, my name is Rosie, and I light this chalice for the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
Thanks, Rosie. Good job. Now will you rise in body or spirit, and let us speak once again the words of our community's covenant. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Let's remain standing for our opening hymn.
have all the children come forward. It's time for the children's focus. Come on up. We have quite a few children and animals up here. Look at this. Well, I have a story for you today. It's just a 12-page story or so. I'm kidding. So this week we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. Do any of you here celebrate Thanksgiving? Yeah? Possibly? What are some of your favorite parts about Thanksgiving? Yeah. Seeing family, yeah. How about you? Food, yeah. Yeah. Turkey, what else? Yeah. Turkey. Pumpkin pie. Yeah. Everything. My favorite thing is mashed potatoes. Yeah. Yeah. One more thing, yeah. Ooh. Cranberry mousse, that sounds awesome. Well, I have a story to tell, and I think it might relate to Thanksgiving, so here goes. Once upon a time, there was a young girl named Fanny. She was kind and educated and worldly. Her parents had quite a bit of money, so she traveled a lot, and she saw many different types of people. One day, she met another young girl named Peaches. They came from very different families, and their lives looked very different. But they also really liked getting to know each other and learning a lot from each other. As Peaches and Fanny became friends, Peaches decided to do the thing that she always did with her friends. She had a history of lending her favorite necklace to all of her new friends. She gave the necklace to Fanny on a Sunday with the intent of getting it back the very next Sunday. Well, Fanny ended up loving the necklace. She wore it proudly all week long, and then next Sunday, when she saw Peaches, she asked if she could keep the necklace for one more week. She just liked it so much. It was hard for Peaches to agree to this because she loved it so much. But she decided it was the kind thing to do. So she said yes. Throughout that second week, Fanny continued to wear it proudly every day, and she even started getting compliments about the necklace. What a pretty necklace that is. She was starting to really love all of the compliments and the attention. So the next Sunday, she didn't even ask Peaches. She just told her, I'm going to keep it for one more week. I just like it so much. Then, the next Sunday, she didn't even tell Peaches. She just kept it. How would you feel if you were Peaches? A little bit angry? A little bit angry, not a lot. Okay. How about you? You'd get over it? Okay. How about you? You'd be sad, yeah. How about you? You'd ask nicely to have it back. Yeah, these are all good answers. So I want to have you think about Fanny and Peaches a little bit as we talk about Thanksgiving. As Kendyl just mentioned, the origin of the Thanksgiving story is pretty complex. It's very old, and there are a lot of different versions of the story. But we need to do our best to tell an honest version, right? So we need to talk about the fact that some people came over here from Europe and saw this land as land that could be taken. It could be theirs. So even though there were already people living here, some of the people that came over weren't very kind to those people. They learned a lot from them, but then also took a lot from them too. So as we go forth this week into our time to celebrate with our family and be grateful, I think it's really important that we're grateful in a really complex way, right? Understanding where we got some of our things from. And I just think the saddest part is I don't want us to be like a Fanny who's grateful for the necklace, but not grateful for Peaches. So I want us to think about that as we go forth with our family this week. Thanks for coming up, guys. Let's join in song.
is a good story on many levels it can relate to. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. Giving thanks. The offering today is a supplement for the basic of all needs here at All Souls. A little extra padding for the heat, the lights, security of all of us, and the hope of the future going into our next 150 years starting next year. So please, if you can, a little extra this time of year, something so basic, it comes full circle. We'll let the offering begin. Thank you.
For the beauty of the earth.
Got ahead of myself.
Please join me in words of dedication for the offering.
We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create a just and compassionate society. Indeed. Thank you. Robin Wall Kimmerer is a mother, a scientist, a professor of environmental biology, and an enrolled member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation. She's also the founder and director of the Center for Native Peoples and the Environment. In her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, she reflects from a scientific perspective on the wisdom of the ways in which the indigenous peoples of this continent have traditionally interacted with the natural world. One of the customs she explores is the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving Address, a call to shared acknowledgement of the gifts of life that is intended to precede any formal gathering of the people. It is both ironic and tragic that the holiday of Thanksgiving among the European colonists of North America originated primarily in their gratitude for military victories over the existing inhabitants of the land they aspired to settle. The initial hospitality of those they termed Indians quickly soured in the face of exploitation and genocide, which has made the American celebration of a romanticized past every year a very troubling moment for the modern descendants of those indigenous peoples. Nevertheless, an attitude of thanks for all the gifts that constitute the natural world is an element of native cultures that cannot be eradicated and continues to be passed down the generations. And so it seems appropriate in this time when those of us who are racialized as white are striving to listen in a new way to the voices of people of color, that we might attend to Robin Kimmerer's interpretation of this ritual of giving thanks that is a long-standing practice among some Native Americans. She writes that at the Onondaga School near her home in New York, the week begins and ends not with the Pledge of Allegiance, but with the Thanksgiving Address, a river of words as old as the people themselves, known more accurately in the Onondaga language as the words that come before all else. This ancient order of protocol sets gratitude as the highest priority. The gratitude is directed straight at the ones who share their gifts with the world. It is said that the people were instructed to stand and offer these words whenever they gathered, no matter how many or how few, before anything else was done. The Pledge of Allegiance, as white Americans know it, has no place here. Onondaga is sovereign territory, surrounded on every side by the republic for which it stands, but outside the jurisdiction of the United States. Starting every day with the Thanksgiving Address is a statement of identity and an exercise of sovereignty, both political and cultural. And so much more. In this ritual, the people are reminded that every day, beginning with where their feet first touch the earth, they are to send greetings and thanks to all the members of the natural world. Kimmerer writes, living as a neighbor to the Haudenosaunee, I have heard the Thanksgiving address in many forms, spoken by many different voices, and I raise my heart to it like raising my face to the rain. But I am not a Haudenosaunee citizen or scholar, just a respectful neighbor and a listener. Because I feared overstepping my boundaries in sharing what I have been told, I asked permission to write about it and how it has influenced my own thinking. Over and over I was told that these words are a gift of the Haudenosaunee to the world. When I asked Onondaga faith keeper Orrin Lyons about it, he gave his signature slightly bemused smile and said, "Of course you should write about it. It's supposed to be shared, otherwise how can it work? We've been waiting 500 years for people to listen. If they'd understood the Thanksgiving address then, we wouldn't be in this mess." The Haudenosaunee have published the address widely, and it has now been translated into over 40 languages and is heard all around the world. Why not here in this land? I'm trying to imagine how it would be if schools transformed their mornings to include something like the Thanksgiving address. I mean no disrespect to the white-haired veterans in my town who stand with hand on heart as the flag goes by, whose eyes fill with tears as they recite the Pledge of Allegiance in raspy voices. I love my country too, and its hopes for freedom and justice. But the boundaries of what I honor are bigger than the Republic. Let us pledge reciprocity with the living world. The Thanksgiving address describes our mutual allegiance as human delegates to the democracy of species. If what we want for our people is patriotism, then let us inspire true love of country by invoking the land herself. If we want to raise good leaders, let us remind our children of the eagle and the maple. If we want to grow good citizens, then let us teach reciprocity. If what we aspire to is justice for all, then let it be justice for all of creation. The words are simple, but in the act of their joining, they become a statement of sovereignty, a political structure, a bill of responsibilities, and an educational model, a family tree, and a scientific inventory of ecosystem services. It is a powerful political doctrine, a social contract, a way of being, all in one piece. But first and foremost, it is the credo for a culture of gratitude.
Today we have gathered, and when we look upon the faces around us, we see that the cycles of life continue through the generations. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and with all living things. So now, let us bring our minds together as one and give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one.
We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. She gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, shall we send thanksgiving, love, and respect.
Now our minds are one.
We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength and nourishing life for all beings. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans, snow and ice. Can we agree that water is important to all our lives and bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to the water? Our minds are one.
We are told that the Thanksgiving address is at heart an invocation of gratitude, but it is also a material, scientific inventory of the natural world. Another name for it is Greetings and Thanks to the Natural World. As it goes forward, each element of the ecosystem is named in turn along with its function. It is a lesson in native science.
Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks. Do we not all look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come?
We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. Can we agree to greet and thank the tree life? Now our minds are one.
With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. Shall we gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting of thanks? Now our minds are one.
Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. Don't we all need healing sometimes? Are we not happy that there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing? With one mind, let us send thanksgiving, love, and respect to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. Now our minds are one.
You can't listen to the Thanksgiving address without feeling wealthy. And while expressing gratitude seems innocent enough, it is a revolutionary idea. In a consumer society, contentment is a radical proposition. Recognizing abundance rather than scarcity undermines the economy that thrives by creating unmet desires. Gratitude cultivates an ethic of fullness, but the economy needs emptiness. The Thanksgiving address reminds you that you already have everything you need. That's good medicine for land and people alike.
We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life. There have been many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. Can we agree that we are all glad that they are still here and that we hope it will always be so?
Now our minds are one.
We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each morning they greet the day with song and remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, let us send our joyful greetings and thanks.
Now our minds are one.
We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So shall we all turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks.
Now our minds are one.
The Thanksgiving address is a reminder we cannot hear too often that we human beings are not in charge of the world, but are subject to the same forces as all the rest of life. What would it be like to be raised on gratitude, to speak to the natural world as a member of the democracy of species, to raise a pledge of interdependence? No declarations of political loyalty are required, just a response to the repeated question, can we agree to be grateful for all that is given? What happens to nationalism, to political boundaries, when allegiance lies with the winds and waters that know no boundaries and cannot be bought or sold?
We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air, and we refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring a change of seasons. From the sea's four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. Can we agree with one mind to send our greetings and thanks to the four winds? Now our minds are one.
Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring the storms that renew life. We are thankful that they keep the destructive powers underground. Let us bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now, our minds are one.
The address is, by its very nature of greetings to all who sustain us, long. Part of its power surely rests in the length of time it takes to send greetings and thanks to so many. The listeners reciprocate the gift of the speaker's words with their attention, and by putting their minds into the place where gathered minds meet. You could be passive and just let the words and the time flow by, but each call asks for a response. Now our minds are one. You have to concentrate. You have to give yourself to the listening. It takes effort, especially in a time when we are accustomed to sound bites and immediate gratification. When the long version is done at joint meetings with non-native business or government officials, they often get a little fidgety, especially the lawyers. My own students profess to cherish the opportunity to share this experience, and yet it never fails that one or a few comment that it goes on too long. Poor you, I sympathize. What a pity that we have so much to be grateful for.
We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day He is the source of all the fires of life. Surely we can agree with one mind to send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun.
We put our minds together to give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, let us send gratitude to our grandmother, the moon. Now our minds are one.
We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and the growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. Don't we all appreciate the stars? With our minds gathered together as one, shall we send greetings and thanks to the stars?
Now our minds are one.
Thanksgiving also reminds us of how the world was meant to be in its original condition. We can compare the roll call of gifts bestowed on us with their current status. Are all the pieces of the ecosystem still here and doing their duty? Is the water still supporting life? Are all those birds still healthy? When we can no longer see the stars because of light pollution, the words of the Thanksgiving address should awaken us to our loss and spur us to restorative action. Like the stars themselves, the words can guide us back home. Starting the day with the Thanksgiving address is a statement of identity and an exercise of sovereignty, both political and cultural, and so much more. The address is sometimes mistakenly viewed as a prayer, but the elders at the Onondaga teach otherwise, that the address is far more than a pledge or a prayer or a poem alone. It is simply the words that come before all else.
We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. Don't we all have caring teachers and spiritual leaders to send our greetings and thanks?
Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send gratitude for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, let us gather our minds together as one and send our most beautiful words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now, our minds are one.
We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way.
The Thanksgiving address reminds us that duties and gifts are two sides of the same coin. Eagles were given the gift of far sight, and so it is their duty to watch over us. Rain fulfills its duty when it falls because it was given the gift of sustaining life. What, then, is the duty of humans? If gifts and responsibilities are one, then asking what is our responsibility is the same as asking what is our gift. It is said that only humans have the capacity for gratitude. This is among our gifts. We know that appreciation begets abundance. Why should it not be so for Mother Earth as well? When Elder Tom Porter recites the address, he holds the circle of listeners in the bowl of his hands. Every face lights up, no matter how long the delivery you wish it was longer. He says, "Let us pile up our thanks like a heap of flowers on a blanket. We will each take a corner and toss it high into the sky, and so our thanks should be as rich as the gifts of the earth that shower down on us." And so we stand there, grateful in a rain of blessings. So be it for you, and for me, and for all people. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fires of commitment. For all these we carry in our minds and hearts until we are together again. Now may the eyes of our hearts be open to all the blessings which surround us, and may this awareness produce a harvest of generosity in our spirits. Let thankfulness rise up within us, not just during this short season, but day after day, from the early morning watches until the dark hours of the night. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts reflect this gratitude, while our actions address the needs of others, those who are like us and those who are drastically different. Let our thankfulness for the blessings we share gather us into a covenant of duty and gratitude, that our minds may be one, and all the beauties and gifts of the earth be safe in our keeping. So be it.
How are you, sir?
Nice job up there.
Oh, it was good, definitely.
It's a great service.